Very few people understand money, how it works, interest rates, But what everybody in the world understands is owning limited edition cool shit. The NFTs are being mass adopted today. And that for me is the most exciting part of what's happening in crypto at the moment.
Hi, and welcome to the Financial Fox, the investing and innovation ideas with a twist. I'm your host, Steffy B, and in this episode, I will be joined by Ran Neuner, co-founder and CEO of On-Chain Capital, a blockchain investment fund and advisory services, but you will know him mainly for CNBC Crypto trader and the YouTube channel Crypto Banter. Ran is not just a crypto guru, but is also an angel investor and a financial market expert. But in this interview, we are just going to talk crypto, so stay tuned.
Being your own bank has advantages and disadvantages. And right now, the user experience is a little bit clumsy and awkward. But that's why it's so cheap.
Before we go into the episode, I want to talk to you about my new crypto web domain name, financialfox.crypto. I got it from Unstoppable Domains, which is creating a new generation of web domains, which are actually domain names on a blockchain that you buy once, and then you don't have to worry about renewable fees anymore. They are decentralized, so no one can take them down or hack your data, and they are yours forever. Also, because they are effectively domains NFTs, you can trade them. For instance, you can buy, a specific domain name that you think in the future is going to be much more expensive and has more value, and then trade them later because the decentralized web is going to take over the internet. Also, the cool thing is that they make crypto payments really easy because you add your wallet address to your domain address, and that's it. And then when you need to get paid, you just give your web domain and the money are there. Obviously, because they are linked to your wallet. So now, if you're interested, go to Unstoppable Domains using the link in the descriptions, which also is going to help to support our channel. And if you want to do a bit more because you like the content that we are doing, then you can make a donation in Ethereum, Bitcoin, or USDC to financialfox.crypto. That will be super appreciated. Hi, Ran, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm fine. So listen, I'm super excited to have you on the show because you're not just, a financial market expert. You are an investor. You are a crypto guru. So there is a lot to talk. But let's maybe talk a crypto because we see Bitcoin, climbing back up again. And there is a lot of attention on altcoins as well. So tell us a little bit your feeling about the market.
Look, I think that we're in a very exciting part of the bull market now. I think if you look at 2013 and you look at 2017, when we had these amazing bull markets, what we learned about exponential growth. So if you think about, for example, 2013, the market went up 20 times the market rise in the last 2-3 months of the year. And the same thing happened in 2017. In 2017, the market went up 10 times in the last 3 months of the year. And it almost feels like we're seeing the same pattern playing out right now, which is that we had a very, very good March and April, and then we had a bad June, July. And then after July, the market goes up again. And the pattern is playing itself out. But this time, it's a little bit different because this time there is a lot of institutional demand for Bitcoin, which we ordinarily haven't seen. It's the first time in the world where there's so many on-ramps and off-ramps and easy places for people and institutions who have big money to get into the ecosystem. And so to me, this is by far the most exciting bull market. Excited about the fact that Bitcoin may go up 2 or 3 times this year, so 280,000, maybe 200,000. But then also excited about other things that are happening on the crypto market, like Ethereum, like NFTs. I don't know if you saw, but Visa announced that they bought an NFT punk and they put it on their balance sheet. I mean, Visa, where are we in the cycle that Visa is putting an NFT on their balance sheet and paying $150,000 for it? So I think we're in a super exciting time in the bull market. I think there's a couple of months left to go at least in this bull market, but maybe even longer. Maybe this could be a super cycle.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing was, yes, the market will reach all-time highs this spring, and then it started to drift down this summer. So everybody thought that we were actually entering the crypto winter, but it doesn't look like.
It happens every time. I mean, if you think about 2013, March, April, May were very good. June, July were very bad. In 2017, the same thing happened. March, April, May were very, very good. And then, they say sell in May and go away. And that's exactly what happens. People go away for summer holidays and they come back actually on the 1st of August or September. But in August, the prices start to go up. So that's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Okay, tell me if you think that all the stuff happening in Afghanistan is having an impact on Bitcoin, maybe more than other altcoins. What's because we are seeing gold that is not moving, and that is a big geopolitical event, and Bitcoin is going up, and the crypto as well. So, what you have to say? Look,
Afghanistan has multiple reasons why Afghanistan should affect Bitcoin, but the reality is that I don't think that it is having a direct effect on Bitcoin. And I'll tell you, I think, if you are a person living in Afghanistan or any country that is similar to Afghanistan in any way, so you're talking about any country with political unrest and stuff like that, the one thing that you're seeing now is that people who are leaving Afghanistan are leaving with nothing. Tell you, I know the story very well because my grandparents, who were Iraqi, and they lived in Iraq in the 1950s, and my gran, who was pregnant with my mom, she was 9 months pregnant, they were expelled from Iraq. They were given 24 hours to leave. So they were told, tomorrow you have to leave. They were very rich people. They were goldsmiths in Iraq. And within 24 hours, they left. And they left only with the clothes in the suitcase, the clothes on their back. And when they got to the airport, actually, in those days, they took out everything of value out of the suitcases and they let them leave with just clothes. Yeah. And so if you think about a place like Afghanistan, and I know that it's a very poor country, but if the people in that country had kept their assets in Bitcoin, then there's no way that the Taliban or anybody could take those assets from them. So that's a big lesson. I would prefer to put all my assets not in a bank account, which can be seized, but rather to put onto a Trezor or a ledger, which I could take with me around the world. And I could then spend this money wherever I land up finding a new life, and also maybe use the money to build a new life. So, you think about these people in Afghanistan, how are they going to pay? They're not going to pay using credit cards because the banking system is collapsed there. So how are they going to pay for their new lives? This is a big lesson. At the same time, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't follow politics that closely, but I imagine that the US is not just going to leave it alone. The US has spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in Afghanistan. And, if the US wants to fund this economic recovery, I guess the best way for them to fund this economic recovery is through a war, because wars cost money. Yeah. And it's almost, to me, too much of a coincidence to think that this was a coincidence that all of a sudden, in a period where the USA is very hungry for growth and needs growth, all of a sudden, coincidentally, we have this big major blowout in Afghanistan. And again, if you look at how much money the US spent on Afghanistan already, I don't think they're going to let that go to waste. I think that if that did happen, that would be a very black stain on Joe Biden's record. And I don't think that he can afford it. So many reasons for me as to why I'd rather be in Bitcoin. I don't trust the current administration. I don't trust governments in general. I'd rather have my money in Bitcoin, and for those reasons.
Okay, it does really make sense. And that's also, if we have to make a comparison with gold, obviously moving gold around is much.
My grandparents, they had 24 hours to leave Iraq in 1950, 1951, or somewhere around there. And they spent 24 hours melting the gold into buckets. And when they arrived with those buckets, they were told, you can't take the gold. You cannot take the gold. Yeah. So, gold, the reason why gold is not going up is actually, gold should actually be going down, because people realize just how garbage gold actually is. It's garbage. Gold is That's why they both start with a G. Gold garbage. Gold is garbage.
Well, we need the dollar to start with the G as well.
Yeah, the garbage.
So let's you mentioned Bitcoin as basically the new property, the new digital assets, more as a property, but with the Lightning Network, we are seeing also a mean as a payment, right? We see this evolution, the Bitcoin as actually can be used as a payment. Can you shed some light on that? Do you think we can say Bitcoin is going to be the cryptocurrency for the future also for payments, or you see more like that's a property, digital assets as an investment?
Look, if you think about the world today, there are multiple currencies in the world, and different currencies are suitable for different things, and they're used for different things. There's the US dollar, there's the Chinese currency, there is the Korean currency, etc. I don't think we need to have one world currency. I think that Bitcoin may become a currency. I don't think the technology is right, but I think Lightning could actually fix this. I think there are other cryptos which are much more suitable to be currencies, things like Luna or even Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I'm not a big fan, but if you think about what those things are about, they can be currencies. I don't think we need to pick a winner just yet, but I think the winner is the fact that cryptocurrency and you can be your own bank. And again, I'm going to go back to the Afghanistan example. The Afghanistan example is a pretty, it's a pretty extreme example. But I mean, if you were suspected of a crime, chances are that the FBI would freeze your bank account.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you pay for your lawyers? Well, what do you do?
Exactly.
That's why it's so important.
Otherwise, you can have cash hidden somewhere, but
they'll find it. I have a friend. He's a very wealthy guy, and he was accused of a crime which he never committed. It's already happened. He's already proven himself innocent in the court. So he was accused of a crime that he never committed. But the first thing that happened was all his bank accounts were frozen. Okay, so he couldn't get a lawyer because all his bank accounts were frozen. Yeah. You see the problem. And that's why I prefer the new financial system where I decide where my accounts are frozen. Obviously, there's risk. There's lots of risks. You lose your private keys, you lose your money. You share your private keys, somebody's going to take your money. But for me, it's still better than being at the mercy of the authorities who can do whatever they want. And I'm not anti-authoritarian. Like, I'm not one of these people that says, screw the law and whatever. It's not that. It's just, I don't like the fact that they have too much power and that they're irresponsible with their power.
Yeah. Okay. So now CBDCs, because we talk about garbage, we are going into the gray area or
garbage.
Exactly. That's what
There's no difference between a CBDC and PayPal or Venmo. It's just a digital dollar or a digital currency. Except, so here's the big except. Because the government own the source, because it's centralized, right? They can control how you spend it. So they could say, every time you spend money at the supermarket, they want to take a 10% tax immediately at the supermarket. That's one risk. The other risk is they could decide for you that you can't spend your CBDC at sex shops or marijuana shops. And then that's just what you have to abide by because your money will be no good there. If we go into an era of CBDCs, all we are doing is we're giving the governments much more control than they already have on our spending. I don't know how that makes you feel, but I don't know. I look at the people running the United States at the moment, and I'm not pointing fingers at the old guy or the orange guy. You take your pick. Either of those guys, I don't want to give them more power. I'm too scared to give them more power.
I just think it's kind of the same. I never kind of be one side or the other side. They are all running at the same way at the end of the day.
Exactly. Look, the average US politician is about 99 years old. I mean, they're so old and they're so out of touch. And these are the people making policy decisions. It's a big problem, massive problem.
So what is going to be the future of stablecoin, really?
I think stablecoins will be replaced. So the US dollar stablecoin, in my mind, is just a temporary bridge between the old financial system and the new financial system. And I think that it's just a transition. It's a transition period. So maybe for the next 5 years or 3 years or 10 years, dollar-based stablecoins are important. But then we're going to get to a point where you don't actually want dollar-based stablecoins. Then you're going to have things like DAI, which is not actually dollar-based. It's algorithmically, it's an algorithmic stablecoin. For me, that's the more exciting part.
Okay, let's talk about DeFi and yield farming. I mean, I see on Crypto Banter that you talk a lot about DeFi application. You know, you have also some favorite altcoins. But talk about, you know, how do you make money in DeFi and what DeFi application are you most excited?
So DeFi is decentralized finance, which is effectively finance without middlemen. And the reason why DeFi is so exciting is because if you think about what DeFi is, effectively what they did was they said, look, there are these things called banks. Banks are fat and overregulated. And, you know, I once read that there were, in order for me to send a SWIFT to you in London, 12 people had to be involved in sending the SWIFT. That's garbage. That's ridiculous. And DeFi replaces those people with smart contracts. And so they eliminate the banks and they take all this money that's made by the banks. Now, banks are arguably one of the top 5 industries in the world today in terms of profitability. So I think probably sex is a bigger industry, mobile phones, etc. But banks is a massive industry. Now, if you take all that profit and you say, look, actually, we don't need you. We can just do this with a series of smart contracts. Then you realize that you can actually give people back a lot of profit. So today on DeFi, you can get between 10 and 25% returns on US dollars. Okay, now, yes, there are much more risks because smart contracts can get hacked and they're not as insured and the industry is developing. But you compare that to getting 0% return if you put it into a bank. And if you put it into a bank in Europe, you actually pay the bank. Yeah. I mean, come on. So now the institutions are realizing this and they're starting to get into DeFi. And so for me, DeFi is super exciting, but DeFi is not the most exciting. The most exciting thing for me in the entire crypto universe is NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Okay, go on there because yeah, go on.
Very few people understand finance in the world. Very few people understand money, how it works, interest rates, very few people understand it. But what everybody in the world understands is owning limited edition cool shit. Okay, like everybody understands that, right? You have a necklace on, you're wearing a necklace today. It's a very limited edition, cool necklace. You don't need to understand
it's on my edition as well.
There we go. You see, there we go. I'm sure everybody loves limited edition things. And I'll explain to you, it's a human psychology. Once we have taken care of all our needs in terms of Maslow's hierarchy, so, you know, you take care of air and food and, you know, all the other stuff, then what human beings look for is, in a world of abundance, human beings look for scarcity. So in a world where you have everything, what you want is something with your initial on it that's unique to you. And that's where NFTs come in. And when you talk about NFTs, it's not a crypto thing. It's just a lifestyle thing. And that has potential for mass adoption. So I don't think DeFi is going to be mass adoption, not for a long time. I think in 10 years, 5 years. But NFTs are being mass adopted today. And that, for me, is the most exciting part of what's happening in crypto at the moment.
Okay, right. I'm going to challenge you there because I understand, obviously, NFT as a collectibles, but the things that I'm struggling, I've been doing some study on metaverse and then it comes this question. It would be so cool if you can get a real strong use case and utility attached to NFTs that it goes beyond the being just collectible.
Okay. Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is a video game. In this video game, people own the characters, which are NFTs, and they battle. And the winner wins a currency called Smooth Love Potion. And then they use a Smooth Love Potion to put 2 Axies together, and then they breed and they get another Axie. That game today has 1.2 million active users, all of them which earn money playing the game. Okay, so 1.2 million people are earning money playing in an NFT game. Okay, you understand what that means? It means that Axie Infinity is one of the top 10 biggest employers in the world because they have over 1 million people that earn money on their platform. and they want to be there and they're having fun. There's no doubt that we've just seen the beginning of the NFT revolution, and NFT gaming is the first part of it.
Do you have any other application beyond the gaming that you think are going to explode very soon?
Well, ticketing for events. So for example, if you think of a concert, so when the concert organizer sells the first 1,000 tickets to a concert, let's say there's only 1,000 tickets to a concert. What happens then is the tickets go onto the black market or the gray market or whatever you call it, and they start to sell. So if I buy a ticket, I can then sell the ticket to you, right? Thing is, when I sell the ticket to you, the artist doesn't get any share of that revenue, right? So let's say that there's a limited edition concert with only 1,000 tickets. I get one of the 1,000 tickets. I'm lucky. Then I want to sell it to you. You're willing to pay double the price because it's such a brilliant concert, right? So the beauty of it is that now with NFTs, if the ticket is an NFT, when I transfer it to you, the original artist gets a cut of that. And when you transfer it to your friend, the original artist gets a cut of that. Now that changes, it changes the way that concerts, football matches, anything, any type of ticket is sold, number one. At the same time, it also revolutionizes the world of art. So if you think about this, today an artist sells a painting, the artist gets the value of the painting. Great. Which means that the artist has to charge upfront for the full value of the painting. So the artist has to charge, say, $200,000 for the painting. With an NFT, the artist can charge $100,000. And then every time that the painting is transferred thereafter, the artist gets 10%, or they can program it however they wish. Now you're talking about the artist charging less upfront and making more money in perpetuity, which means that everybody's happy. Why? You're happy because you're buying the art cheaper. The artist is happy because he's getting more money in the long term. So everybody's happy. So NFTs have just started to revolutionize the world.
And I think on that has got a great use case also for fashion, for example, for
exactly.
the secondary market where, you know, brands could actually monetize their product in a much more healthy way rather than all this counterfeiting. And you don't know where, you know, these Prada handbags come from and all this sort of stuff. So,
exactly.
yeah, it's super exciting space.
Exactly. So, for me, it's the most exciting space. NFT is the most exciting space in crypto today.
I mean, we mentioned before that institutions are getting into the space, but most of these institutions are run by the old generation, right? Which are not familiar with crypto, which are kind of against volatility and all these kind of things. How do you think Bitcoin and crypto and DeFi and NFTs are going to get more adopted within that space that is run most by the old generation, most?
So I'm looking now at a survey which was done to the banks, and 81% so this was done to 1,000 bankers. It was done by Deloitte, which is a reputable company. They say 81% of finance execs say blockchain has gone mainstream. 75% of them said it would be at a competitive disadvantage if they didn't adopt crypto. 76% said that 76% said that cryptocurrencies will replace fiat in 10 years, and 76% of them believe it will help reduce organizational risk. I think everybody's realizing it. I think it's just a matter of how quickly you can pivot or adopt. For a big organization in the US that's highly regulated, it's a bit more complicated.
What about retail adoption? I mean, we said before, for instance, DeFi will require many, many more years before it's going to become mainstream because it's still quite complicated. I mean, for instance, I'm going to tell you something stupid that I've done over the last couple of days. We mentioned about Axie, right? I invested in this token called My DeFi Pet.
My DeFi Pet, okay.
Yeah, and actually I put just a couple of $100, nothing, and it went through the roof, really. So I said, okay, I'm gonna sell it, and I went on PancakeSwap, did my swap, and then you know what I did? You wanna have a laugh?
You put the wrong contract.
No, I send the USDT on Binance Smart Chain to my Coinbase wallet, and the money
Gone.
My God. And I said, okay. And I tried to reach out to Coinbase and Binance, and they said, oh, we don't support you, and floof, they're gone in the bin. It's
money's gone, money's gone, money's gone.
Yeah, exactly. So this is me that I know about crypto, but it was just, when you are doing things, you always have to make sure that everything is right. And it was not on the Ethereum network, so I just make that.
Look, being your own bank has advantages and disadvantages. And right now, the user experience is a little bit clumsy and awkward. But that's why it's so cheap. If you wait for mass adoption, you're not going to get these deals ever again. If you wait for mass adoption, the Bitcoin price will be $250,000, and then there's no upside. You are getting higher returns because you are inherently taking higher risks. That's it.
Yeah. What about regulation? So they started to kick in. They are trying to control. Probably they're not going to achieve what they want. But where do you think they are going to go? It's all just about tax.
The more money flows into crypto, the more regulation there's going to be. The more regulation there's going to be, the more money is going to flow into crypto. The more regulation there's going to be, the more money flows into crypto. Why? Because the more money that comes in, governments need to protect, and they want their tax. That means regulation. Protect investors and take your tax means extra regulation. But the more regulation they put in, the more comfortable institutions are going to be to put money into this asset class, because it's a regulated asset class, right? So it's a double-edged sword. We don't like regulation, but also without regulation, we wouldn't have a Bitcoin price of $50,000 because the institutions wouldn't be able to invest. But we don't like regulation. We don't like regulation because it means more taxes. And that's just the way it's going to be because the government wants a share.
Yeah. Well, let's see where they get. So just to close up, you already tell me you're pretty excited about NFTs. Is there anything else that you're looking forward?
DeFi, NFTs.
Give me some altcoins favorites.
Luna, Arweave, Thorchain, Ethereum. Hold on, let me look at I have a list, of course. I like Polkadot. I love Solana. Matic, Polygon. I like all of them. Those are the ones I like.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ran. That was a great
Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
Okay, that was a great, fantastic interview. I definitely want to have Ran again on the show, and maybe we can talk a little bit more about financial markets, stock and shares. And, I would like to get his point of view also on more the traditional financial market, not just on crypto. And maybe we can do another episode specifically about altcoins. So if you have a suggestion or anything, get in touch with me, follow us on social media, and that way you can stay up to date with our news and interviews. I will see you next time.